indeed. It's that moment of the evening, folks. We welcome the Greyhounds onto parade for the final of the BOYLE Sports Irish Greyhound Derby. Leading the way is the UK's finest proper heiress for Mark Wallace and the MWD partnership, this brilliant son of Droopy Sydney and powerful mush, bidding to become the first UK winner since 1997, and Tom's the best. He's a star, a multiple Category 1 winner in the UK. He's got his draw. Can he find his start? In 2, Magical Mag. There's no problem with this lady starting. She's absolutely lightning from boxes, bidding to give Pat Guilfoyle a second Derby success following the victory of Good News. She's a daughter of Ballymac Cash Out and Mystical Luna. It'd be a shock if she wasn't prominent in the early yards. Her race to her path to glory is pretty obvious. If she gets around that corner, any bit of traffic, and she could find herself alone. 3, Barefoot on Song, another bidding to give her handler a second Derby success. Paul Hennessy, trained Tyra Rhino all those many years ago. This daughter of Grange Lieutenant JT Osprey is owned by Brian and Kathleen Murphy. They have multiple classic successes. An English Derby winner, how much they would love to win an Irish Derby. In 4, Glengar Silent, bidding to become the youngest Derby winner of all time. His dam, Sing Along Sally, was second here to Susie Sapphire in 2021. Trained by Pat Guilfoyle, or Pat Buckley should I say, who trained the legendary College Causeway to Derby glory in 2009, and owned by Tom Nolan, a man who will celebrate win, lose or draw. In 5, Cheap Sandwiches, the runner-up just 10 months ago to Bocco's Diamond. Well, he's back and he's a red-hot favourite, trained by Graham Holland, who's bidding to become the winning most Derby trainer with 5 successes, owned by the Bark Wahlberg Syndicate. This ain't son of Burgess Buckets and Harthill Josie, sensational in the quarterfinals and semi-finals, a worthy favourite. And out in 6, we have Droopy's Deploy for Robert Gleeson and Paul Allen. Robert won the Derby with Slippery Robert all those years ago. A son of Malachy and Droopy's Charm is Droopy's Deploy. He'll be finishing faster than any and represents value on the outside of the field. A quality lineup for the 2025 BOYLE Sports Irish Greyhound Derby. Yes, indeed, as you can see, the loading process has commenced. Indeed, completed. The BOYLE Sports Irish Greyhound Derby. The last few nervous moments. There's the Derby roar. We've come to expect it. In 1, Proper Heiress. 2, Magical Mag. In 3, Barefoot on Song. 4, Glengar Silent. 5, Cheap Sandwiches. And 6, Droopy's Deploy. The hare coming up behind Traps. And racing, flying start by 3, Barefoot on Song, 2, Magical Mag. Now Cheap Sandwiches gets racing. Her 2 is knocked over, Magical Mag, but she's up and racing. Out front, it's Cheap Sandwiches. He goes on from 3, Barefoot on Song and Proper Heiress. But Cheap Sandwiches, the bridesmaid in 2024, behind Bocco's Diamond. He's out front and he leads by 4. Barefoot on Song running the race of her life. But Cheap Sandwiches has won the Derby. A popular winner for the Bark Wahlberg Syndicate. Graham Holland has won a 5th Irish Derby, 29-37. Cheap Sandwiches, a deserving favourite, a deserving winner, and now a Derby champion. Well done to his owners and trainer. Decided on the opening corner. Barefoot on Song took an absolute flyer. She leads to the bend, but traffic for Magical Mag and Proper Air, or beg your Droopy's Deploy, but Cheap Sandwiches on the outside ran a remarkable corner. He took over from the bitch. Proper Heiress back in 3rd spot, running his heart out for the UK, but there was no catching Cheap Sandwiches. As strong as Barefoot on Song is, a litter of pups at home, she tried her best, but Cheap Sandwiches has earned his place in history after going so close in 2 previous derbies. It was his turn, and well done to the Bark Wahlberg Syndicate and to that man, Graham Holland, a true master of his craft.
We're with the winning connections here. Gary from the Riverside Kennels. 3rd final, 3rd time lucky, a deserved winner, Cheap Sandwiches.
If ever a dog deserved a derby, and that's this man here. He's some bit of stuff. I'm actually speechless. He's some bit of stuff. 3 finals and an international, and this the icing on the cake. I'm delighted for all the connections as well. Dan Brazel, I'd say he'll be drinking for a week down in Kerry.
And it's the syndicate owns this dog, so there'll be a big party tonight, Gary.
This dog has serious connections. From Graham Holland, what a man, 5th Derby. He's something else, but the dog, it's all about the dog. Cheap Sandwiches, he done it tonight.
when the dog broke, he didn't break maybe as well as he normally does. Went second around the first bend, but he run an unbelievable race to win it, and he ended up winning quite easy.
An unbelievable bend. Like he showed all year once he's going into the bend with a chance, he kind of comes out the other side. I was just like hoping no trouble, but he got out the other side, and once he's in front, like, he's a professional. I'm delighted.
Well, there you have it. 5 weeks of pulsating racing, 6 rounds of the BOYLE Sports Irish Greyhound Derby, and it has all come down to one greyhound. Chief Sandwiches has landed the spoils, €125,000, atoning for last year's second place finish. Of course, he'd gone so close in the English Derby as well. He'd won at Dundalk International, but tonight he was crowned. I'm talking to a man who I spoke to after the final and said congratulations, because your bitch, Barefoot and Song, ran second, and she ran the most remarkable race. I dare say one of the great training performances of your father's long and illustrious career. Before we get on to Chief Sandwiches, you have to give her a mention.
Yeah, look, she was amazing. Everybody, I suppose, the fact she had the litter of pups, I suppose, grabbed the imagination of a lot of people, and and we shared a picture of the pups on social media this week, and it went mad, and everybody was coming up during the week and tonight just wishing her the very, very best luck and saying how remarkable it was for her to be in a final after having a litter of pups. That you wouldn't know it in her, like I had the pleasure, I suppose.
You wouldn't tonight, anyway.
No, and I had the pleasure of parading her, and I think I said it to you maybe the second or third round, which was drawn in that real tough heat. I said to you, like, I wouldn't swap any of ours to put into this heat, because, like, when you take her out of the kennel, like, she just gives you that air of, I don't know, like, just confidence and arrogance that she can take on anything. And tonight, like, when I was parading her, when we stood behind the boxes and the roar started to go up, I was saying to that afterwards, she was so focused. I knew, as good as Mag could come out, I said, this one's going to, if the traps don't open when she tries to come out, she's going to damage the muzzle, because she was just ready for it, and she timed it perfection, and she ran her heart out, and she was brilliant. And like I said to you upstairs, we've been lucky enough to win derbies and stuff, but that's up there, I think, with as good as any of them. Like you were saying to me, are you happy or sad? There's not an inch of sadness in me, especially when the best dog won. And that's my overriding feeling. Like we gave it our very best go. Magical Mag, what happened to her is very unfortunate. She's the only one that probably didn't get a run at them, but do you know what I mean? The writing was on the wall when he loomed up where he did, and like, let's not make any mistakes about this. And I said this to you during the week on the podcast. This derby won't be remembered for Bocco's Diamond being withdrawn, I don't feel. I think this derby will be remembered for how brilliant Chief Sandwiches is, and how well-deserving and overdue he is of getting his name up in lights and getting his night in the sunshine, because this dog has turned up Ireland, England, Shelburne, Dundalk, Toaster, wherever it is, wherever there's a battle, he's there. And I've yet to ever see him in a bad race. He's just the most remarkably consistent dog in training, and what Graham has done with him has been simply outstanding. And for connections, for Graham, and more importantly for the dog himself, he deserved this one.
Yeah. He's been second in the Derby. He's now won a Derby. He reached the English Derby final. He's won a Dundalk International. The CV is there. This was a Derby. Let's not kid ourselves. It was attritional early. Not everything was rosy in the garden from the very start. But I'll tell you one thing, it turned into a proper Derby. And I think we had a proper winner and a deserving winner. And I think it was the right result tonight. And that's not to, obviously you finished second, and, Glengar Silent finishes third. But I think if Chief Sandwiches hadn't won tonight, there would have been a sense of a sorrow nearly about the game, because this is a dog that's so richly deserved it. Now, we know in life, when you deserve something, it doesn't always necessarily come to you. Tonight, he didn't flash out. He had to work hard into that opening corner. There was a certain Barefoot on Song who absolutely scalded out. I've never seen anything like it. She's a couple of lengths clear. It was Susie Sapphire-esque passing me. And then Chief Sandwiches just roared up on her outside. He missed the Schmozzle in behind. He gets around the bitch, and all of a sudden, in the matter of a few strides, the Derby's over. She runs on really gallantly. She runs a hell of a race, but Chief Sandwiches, when the form he's in, there was just no stopping him. And I think it was the right Derby result.
Oh, look, he's the best dog that won it. Look, like you said, I know that sorrow might not be the word you're looking for, but I know what you're saying, like that if the best dog doesn't win, there's always that sort of sense of shock, or you know what I mean? And that's greyhound racing. It happens. Trust me. If ever a song I would, I wouldn't be feeling too sorrowful. But no,
We mightn't be doing this.
Exactly.
We might be doing it at the bar.
We'd be still inside. But no, I get what you're saying. And like, look, I told you last Saturday night, I was just delighted to be in the final, and I gave her no chance. I told you on Monday or Tuesday when we did it on the Talk of Dogs, I'd come round to giving her a life. And I told you by Saturday, I convinced myself she could win. And I had, believe it or not. And I was really confident coming into tonight. Now, unfortunately, well, there was two things I sort of needed to happen. I needed her to clear Mag, which, in fairness to her, she did. And as I said to you on the Talking Dogs, specifically when I was talking about Glengar Silent, I felt there was going to be trouble at this race. And that's not wishing that on anybody, or I'm not wishing that for that to happen. But it just looked on paper that was going to happen. And it
was framed in such a way that something on the inside had to give way. There was going to be a dog checking off or moving off. And as it happens, it was Magical Mag that was sort of sent. Now she sort of tripped on heels as well. And then she hampered Droopy's deploy. His race was done. Thankfully, though. Thankfully. And really on these types of occasions, she jumped up and she galloped on. And that's great to see.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it is. It's most important. We've stood here, unfortunately, and that hasn't been the case sometimes. So that's the most important thing. But there was just so much early on the inside that I always felt that something would lead and the other two would come charging into the bend and there would be a skittles. And that did happen. And like I said to you, when I was convincing myself of the chance, it did obviously involve Cheap Sandwiches giving us that length at the boxes, which he did. And Cheap Sandwiches, I think it was the second or third round of our videos here, and I said to you, what he's doing from the winning line into the bend was Bocco's Diamond-esque from last year. And that's what separated him from the field, I felt, this year. And only he has that. That's what won him the Derby. Because he just, and I mean just, clears Magical Mag was coming out. You know, another half a length, or like if you pause it halfway to the corner and say, does Cheap Sandwiches turn a length clear second? It doesn't look likely. But his pure power into the first bend got him around. And look, I'm on the inside with eyes only on Song, and I let one roar when I seen her go around the bend in front. And then when I seen the orange jacket on the outside, I said, well, how much is for second? Because, the writing was on the wall. But look, it was a brilliant race. And like I said, a really worthy winner. I know he'd won the Dundalk International, and I'm not lessening that competition. It's a one-off race. But this dog is anything but that. Like, he's anything but a one-night-only trick. Like, this dog, if the Derby was 12 weeks, I'd say he'd still be going. He just is that. He's an unbelievable, tough greyhound who has competed at the highest level for so long.
That has resulted in him sort of building this legion of admirers. Like, everyone's a Cheap Sandwiches fan. I know the name helps, and I know the way he runs, and he really does go out in a shield. Even when he's beaten, like, he runs his heart out. There's no not giving 100% with this dog. He's absolutely flat out whenever he's racing.
100%. And like I said, the highest accolade, I suppose, that I can give to him is when the unfortunate Bocco's Diamond had to withdraw. And it definitely, took a little bit of the light off it. And I felt at the time that, regardless of who won, I remember thinking at the time, regardless of who wins now, it'll always be remembered of, well, Bocco's wasn't there, or they didn't beat Bocco's, or whatever. I have no feeling of that at all. And that is not me knocking Bocco's Diamond. And there's plenty of videos out there of me talking about Bocco's Diamond or how highly I rate him, and I still think he's one of the best we've ever seen. But I'm just saying, I don't feel any tint when Cheap Sandwiches won it, how he's won it, how he's done it throughout this Derby. And like I said, it was his trademark. I know he missed it slightly. It was that trademark early pace into the corner to put himself into the position and won him the Derby tonight.
Yeah, remarkable run. Behind him, it's probably safe to say there were no real hard luck stories. Your bitch did absolutely everything she could possibly have done. Proper RS finds himself in third after pushing off the pitch in the corner. She's the hard luck story in a sense. She wasn't going to win, is it? At that stage, Magical Mag, Droopy's deploy was probably going to finish in the frame. He was nice and close on the outside, got badly done. And then Glengar Silent. Glengar Silent actually got third. I had to do a double take because you're doing the commentary and you're so wrapped up with proclaiming what's happened here. The Derby winner, Graham Holland, with his fifth, and the bitch running so well in second. I nearly took the eye off the ball. I didn't even know what was third. I thought Proper RS was third. Saw the result. He ran some race to get third in the finish. Like, whatever about the winner and your bitch in second, both running unbelievable races. Glengar Silent again showed what a fast, determined, dogged performer he is.
Oh, look, he's the one you're taking out of Derby going forward. Like we always come into these Derbies and there's one or two that you'll write down in your notebook as to look forward. And I don't think it takes a genius to say that he's the one you're going to pick out of finalists going forward. he's the world at his feet. He is every bit as talented as Cheap Sandwiches is. However, and I felt it all week. You know, I said it to you
Can't
after
get
the
to the
video.
corner.
I just didn't. With the makeup of the race, I'm not saying he can never get to the corner. He doesn't have early. I'm not saying that. Even I was talking to Tom Nolan here after the draw.
That can come,
Oh yeah, it can, and
but it's not there yet.
no, and even like we saw last week, like he can put himself in a position. But the makeup of this race, I felt was really bad for him. Like he had 3 early pacers inside him. Like it wasn't a case that like, you know, 2 of the 3 were going to miss it. Like there was 3 early pacers inside him. There was always going to be at least 2 up his inside. And then you have Cheap Sandwiches roaring on his outside. So I thought he was sort of piggy in the middle on the draw before the race. And that's how it panned out. But like the gears he has, like it's scary. And look, he's in great hands and lovely people have him. And I wish him the very, very best luck. I just need to find something to go to war against him next year. But look, he's a brilliant dog. And I know we keep saying it, and I know it mightn't feel like it right this minute in time, but what a dog to look forward to. And when I'm not saying they're disappointed, I haven't talked to connections, but I'm sure, you know, when in a couple of days when this dies in and they appreciate, you know, for a dog so young finishing third in the Derby, like there's something to look forward to.
There was a time when dogs wouldn't even hit the track before they were 2 years of age.
Correct.
He's not 2 years of age for another, you know, a few weeks or a couple of weeks, and he's already been a Derby finalist and disputing favouritism in the Derby. When you think about it, it's a remarkable feat. Graham Holland. It's a 5th Derby success. It all started in rural Hawaii back in 2016, and he quickly followed up with the likes of, you know, Lenson Bocco and Ewan Taylor, and of course last year Bocco's Diamond. He's very Aidan O'Brien-esque in the way he, you know, when you speak to him, I couldn't do without the team. And I know it's the same in your own operation. It's the same in every successful operation. You have to have the team behind them. Even tonight, I was sort of surprised when I saw Gary Walsh walking up the track with the dog and giving the interview. But it just goes to show how many people are involved, you know. And Gary speaking about the dog like he's his own. And that's what you want. Everyone has to be dialed in. Graham Holland is clearly a master trainer, but he must have some team behind him. It's a remarkable operation.
It is. Look, this game isn't easy. This game is not easy. Like things that like I count myself blessed. I have a great job now with BOYLE Sports. I see a completely different side of life. Up until I was 18, 19, I knew nothing about the real world or the outside world. It was just dogs. And that was partly down to
Now you know dogs and betting shops.
Exactly. Now, but what I mean by that is like that was down to the way we were reared. Like we didn't have family holidays. We didn't have. You can't all go at the one time. This is a 365 days a year job. Christmas Day, the dogs don't know it's Christmas Day, so you still have to go out there, clean them out, feed them. It takes an unbelievable commitment, and you get nothing in life without hard work. And what Graham, Nicky, Timmy, Rachel, the whole team have achieved is truly remarkable. Now I know that you speak to them, they'll say similar to what we say. You have to have the dogs to do it. But then again, when you have the dogs, you have to be able to maximise their ability. And I'm sure Graham will have a similar view to we have. Probably the hardest thing in training is often staying out of their way. Like when you have the right dog, keep it simple. And they've mastered it. What they've achieved, you know, they deserve. I have the utmost respect for them.
What they've achieved with their dogs is something similar to what your father used to achieve. That everyone can seem to train a dog for those few months when they're flying. But to produce these same dogs for 2 years running, that like not too many can do that. Like these dogs, the Cheap Sandwich is better dog than he was last year, which is remarkable in a sense. Your father used to do the same thing. He'd turn up the following year with the same dog and they would have matured and strengthened and run hard. That doesn't happen with every trainer. It's a craft in itself.
Oh, it is. And look, I suppose Graham will be similar to ourselves. When you have the right one, I think the key often is you pick your competitions. Like you know, these dogs.
You can't go over them all.
No, and like every time they come off the lead, I'm sure Graham and it's not just Graham, Owen, Pat, like we have the best trainers in the world. I don't care. You know, like anywhere in the world, the trainers here can go shoulder to shoulder. You come up here for Saturday night, like it is elite against elite. You get nothing given or taken. So and like I think the biggest thing is that when you get the good ones, like every time they come off the lead, you're nervous. Like it's not the first thing isn't in your mind when you take the lead off of Cheap Sandwiches or any of those level of dogs is, am I going to win? It's just come off the track safely, be in one piece. And every time you run them dogs, obviously there's a risk attached. And Graham has, you know, targeted the best ones at the bigger competitions, similar to the way we would go about things. And like he's getting due dividends. And I'd say now whenever Bocco's Diamond, Cheap Sandwiches and Bombay retire, I'd say it'll be a day of mourning below on Riverside Kennels because to come along 3 dogs, like of that caliber at one time. One of them would be a dog of a lifetime, and to have three of them, you have to go and achieve it, and they have. Like, it's been, we've given our best shot. Bob has ran up to them and barefoot on song, and we probably made Graham sweat a little bit for a little while into the corner tonight. But fair play to them all, well deserved win.
Yeah. Before we give the final word to Cheap Sandwiches, a special atmosphere here tonight. I was a bit fearful just with the NFL and the fact that accommodation prices were so high that we're going to miss that added spice of a lot of a UK contingent. They came. A lot of them are doing the red eye. They're literally staying up all night, going to the airport. Yeah, that's dedication. But it just goes to show you what a draw Derby final night at Shelbourne Park is. Special occasion. Like, they're taking down, they just have to take down the large screen. Behind us, you can see the remnants of all the poor bookie slips. And, you know, I don't know if the bookies had a winning night or a losing night, but it's absolutely rocking inside. It's a special place, but this is a truly special night.
It is. Like, there's nowhere else in the world we'd rather be. And me and you go up into the suite upstairs and we do a bit of a preview before. And then, like I said to you, technically we're working, but like, tell me that this feels like a day you're working. Do you know what I mean? It's Christmas morning for us. And it just goes to show that, you know, the industry went through a tough time a number of years ago, and, you know, by God, if we come back fighting, and then look, with the people we have, and fair play to Shelbourne and everyone with the GRI and everything coming together and really promoting the sport. It's as good a sport as there is in the world. And look, everybody inside now having a drink. I'm sure they'll all be dreaming that this time, 12 months time, they could be back here, and who knows, everyone has that chance again. Like, you know, it is a sport that, you know, in horse racing, you've got the real expensive ones, but like in this game, like, you can walk in and
there's nothing elitist about greyhound.
No, you can buy a pup for, you know, very small money and just hit it lucky, and the fact that is available to pretty much everybody is what makes our sport so special. And I have to knuckle down now for the next 12 months and try to find something to go on more better maybe this time next year.
It's not easy to find them.
No.
Harthill Josie, the dam of Cheap Sandwiches, very lightly raced.
Yeah.
She produced. By God, did she produce.
I
Dan
hope I'm
Brazel tells
song
me he has a few pups coming along by her. You have a Derby runner-up with a litter of pups at home. Oh my God, it's the way forward. They are growing in value week on
I
week.
know.
Tonight was a fair addition to their price. Cheap Sandwiches.
You'll be able to afford one.
You never know. Cheap Sandwiches. Again, just a tremendous winner of the Derby. Dan Brazel has obviously been involved in greyhound sport all his life. You know, he's involved in a long, long time. He knew he had a good one. He got a family. He's got his family involved. His daughter's there. His sons are there. Their friends and their partners are there. It's a great story. The fact that they're named the Bark Wahlberg Syndicate, a massive, great name. The fact that they called them Cheap Sandwiches because they had a dog called Free Sandwiches. This is Cheap Sandwiches. It's a lovely little package. The fact that he was gone so close last year behind this, like one of the greats of all time, and now a year later he does similar, like 8 to 15 starting during the week. I don't even know what price he went off tonight, probably 4 to 7, 4 to 6, but just a thoroughly deserving winner. And I just think the final word should be on Cheap Sandwiches.
I know, it should. Like, you know, it doesn't matter now what he do. I don't know what his plan is now.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. And I think the dog deserves it. I really do. That's the overriding feeling I have. Obviously, you know, with our own lady, like, I was so happy, and, you know, and the more I even thought about it, I think, you know, even if we were to get beaten, I think the dog deserved it. You know what I mean? When you're beaten on the night by the best dog, the most deserving dog on the night, I think you can't be disappointed, and he really was.
No complaints, as they say.
Like, look, I happen to be at the best comparison I can make is I happen to be at the All Ireland final this year, like a Kenny man at a Cork and Tip All Ireland final, and I wanted Cork to win purely for Patrick Horgan. And to some extent, Cheap Sandwiches reminded me of that. Like, he'd been in every battle, he'd been in every war, he'd wore the T-shirt, and I'm lucky for Cork and Patrick Horgan, he didn't get it, but Cheap Sandwiches, he landed across the line tonight in front.
Yeah, he's landed for Golden, County Tipperary, of course.
There you go.
That's it. The 2025 BOYLE Sports Irish Greyhound Derby is no longer, it has been confined to the history books, but for the Bark Wahlberg Syndicate and for Graham Holland, it will be remembered for many, many years to come. The 2025 Derby champion Cheap Sandwiches, a deserving winner, the right winner, a memorable winner. That's it. We'll see you next year. I can't wait.